Hello friends, I am so glad you could join me today because we're going to be talking about something that I think is especially important for those of us with mature skin who are over 50, over 60, or beyond. And that is makeup tools that can be especially beneficial for us. If you're new to my channel, I want to welcome you. My name is Elise. I'm a professional working makeup artist who's passionate about helping those of us who are over 50 look on the outside how we feel on the inside so we can look and feel our confident best. We have new videos every Thursday. I hope you'll join us for those. And I hope you'll also become a member of our family of subscribers. And you can do that easily by hitting that subscribe button, and also to be notified every Thursday when we have new videos available. All you need to do is hit that bell icon to the right and below the video, and that will notify you every time a new video is up on YouTube. And I thank you so much in advance if you choose to do so. Well, let's go ahead and dive into our discussion of beauty tools that are especially valuable and helpful for those of us who are over 50. The first thing I want to talk about is something that I did touch on in a video I recently did, which focused on the most important things we can do for our skincare. And if you missed that video and are interested in seeing it, I will put a link to that video in the description box below. But this is the tool that I mentioned in that video. This particular one is from Clarisonic, and I think it was one of the very first sonic cleansing brushes that came out. There are many different sonic cleansing brushes. I know Clinique makes one, Neutrogena makes one. There are many others that are out there from different brands. And I wish, frankly, I could tell you which is the very best one. However, they've not done a study in Consumer Reports yet, and I do hope they will at some point. But the reason I want to recommend this cleansing brush to you is that it cleans our face 6 times better than we can do when we manually clean our faces. And I did a little experiment a few weeks ago to check this out. I used my regular cleanser. I applied it generously to my face. I used my washcloth and I rinsed it off very carefully as well. Then I took a cotton pad and I applied some micellar water to that cotton pad, and I gently rubbed it across my face. And I was frankly amazed and honestly quite appalled by how much ended up on that cotton pad, which I was not expecting at all. So it really didn't totally and carefully cleanse my face. And this is why it's so important to cleanse our face, because as we get a little bit older, we're most likely, I know I am, using a few more things like moisturizers and serums and other beauty products at the end of the day. And in order for those to be most effective, they need to penetrate as deeply as possible into the skin. And if we have any barrier on our skin, like makeup or any pollutants if we've gone out during the day, that can really block the effectiveness of those products. Because we spend quite a bit of money on those products, we absolutely want them to be their most effective best. So that's why I really love using a sonic cleansing brush. Now, I don't use it every day. If I'm just in the house during the day, I don't use it. But if I've gone out even without makeup, and especially if I've gone out with makeup, I will definitely use the sonic cleansing brush. And what I normally will do is double cleanse. And what I mean by double cleanse is I'll take a makeup wipe and remove a little bit of makeup first, or I will use my cleanser and my washcloth and remove as much makeup as I can, and then I will go in and use the sonic cleansing device. That ensures that I really do the most thorough possible job of cleansing my face. And I do want to mention that most of the companies that make the sonic cleansing brushes do produce different kinds of brushes. So for instance, I have very sensitive skin, so I purchased a sensitive skin brush. So that is true for most brands. They have different brushes that you can purchase. Also, I want to mention that when you first start using a sonic cleansing brush, I really recommend that perhaps you use it every other night. So gently introduce it to your face. And then as your face gets more accustomed to the use, you can certainly use it every night if you care to do so. It also helps exfoliate your skin, which is an added benefit as well. So it's something that maybe you want to check out in. It is an investment up front, but in the long run, it may be worth it because you are spending a lot of money on those products that you use at the end of the day, the different serums and moisturizers, which help our skin most effectively when we apply them overnight. Let's go on and talk about the second tool. This is something that we want to use when we apply foundation or tinted moisturizer or concealer, and that is a buffing brush. The reason why a buffing brush works so well is that, as you can tell, the brush is very dense. It also is very soft, which is wonderful. And I love the fact that this particular one, which is made by Eve Pearl, is angled. So it's much easier to get around the various areas of our face, like under our eyes, underneath our cheekbones, our jawline, etc. And by the way, I'll list in the description box below all the various tools that I talk about in today's video. What this buffing brush does is it really melds the makeup into the skin so it looks absolutely flawless. And by the way, if you're going to spend a little bit more money on any particular brush, I do recommend that perhaps you want to spend a little bit more money on this foundation buffing brush because it really does make a difference. Let's go on and talk about a couple of other brushes. This time these are brushes for our eyeshadow. These are blending brushes, and as I'm sure many of you are aware, the most important thing we can do to make our eyeshadow look absolutely perfect is to blend it in seamlessly, so there's no particular line of demarcation. That's what these brushes enable us to do. As you can see, they're soft, they're flexible, and they really help disperse the eyeshadow very evenly and softly over our entire eyelid or crease area, which really can make a difference in how beautiful our eyeshadow looks. It also can be helpful to take a brush like this with no product on it at all, no eyeshadow, and then just go along the outer edge of our eyeshadow, which really helps it all blend in seamlessly. And by the way, you notice that there are two different sizes of brushes that I showed. If you have quite a bit of space in this area up to your eyebrow, you can certainly use a larger brush. If you have less space, you may want to go with a slightly smaller blending brush. And by the way, it does make a difference where you hold the brush when you apply any particular kind of product. If you hold the brush closer to the brush end, you're going to be pushing a little bit harder on the brush, which tends to apply more makeup. And that's great if you're using a brush where you're perhaps packing on some eyeshadow onto your eyelid. But for the blending, you really want to have a lighter, softer touch. So holding the brush more toward the middle of the brush or toward the end of the brush can really make a difference in how soft and beautifully blended your eyeshadow looks. One more brush I want to talk about, which perhaps is a tool that you've not seen before. This particular eye brush is one that doesn't really get as much attention as other ones, but it can be an especially helpful tool for those of us with mature skin. This particular brush is very thin, as you can see. It's also slanted or angled. This is usually called a bent eyeliner brush or an angled eyeliner brush. What's beautiful about this is because of how thin that brush is, it enables us to get a very thin, even line along our eyelash area on our eyelid. Another fantastic thing about this brush is because of the angle, you can reach into your eye area without obstructing your view. With most other brushes, your hand is going to be in the way. Because of the way this is angled and the length of the brush, you can go in without obstructing your view and really have an easier access to that whole eyelash area. You can use this with a cream or a gel eyeliner or even a cake eyeliner. It works very effectively with all of those. The other really nice thing you can do with this brush is you can take a little bit of your product and you can actually dot it in between your individual lashes, which again will give a little bit more volume and fullness to your eyelash area. And if you have very hooded eyes, this particular tool can really be a lifesaver because what it can do is help get that eyeliner on in a very thin line, or as I mentioned, you can dot that eyeliner on in between your lashes. And that's very helpful if you have very hooded eyes, because often with very hooded eyes, you need to make a very thin line for your eyeliner to show up. So this can be an especially effective tool for your eyeliner if you have hooded eyes. Now, this next product is something that probably many of you already have. I know I couldn't live without it. And I'm not going to hold this up because I think it would blind a few of you out there. But what I'm talking about is a magnifying mirror. And magnifying mirrors come in very different levels of magnification. There is a 5 magnification, there's a 7, there's a 10. It goes all the way up to 20, as a matter of fact. And this can be such a game changer. In fact, I was pretty amazed when I first used a magnifying mirror because I thought I'd done a pretty good job of applying my eye makeup, but when I took the magnifying mirror up to take a closer look, what I realized is there were several different areas where I could have blended a whole lot better. So that really made me realize that I needed to use a magnifying mirror on a regular basis. And I know, however, that it can be a little frightening to take an up-close and personal look because there's certainly things that we'd prefer that weren't there, but it can really help us apply our makeup far better to have that magnifying glass. I used to have a makeup magnifying mirror where it was on my vanity on a stand. But that meant I often had to lift it up with one hand or bend down to really get a good look. So what I've gone to recently is a magnifying mirror that can be attached to the wall in my bathroom, and then it telescopes out. And that has been absolutely wonderful. I can now apply my makeup hands-free, and it's so easy to use. I really love it. And speaking of magnification, I know many of us have to wear eyeglasses, and I certainly do have to wear readers. But if you wear eyeglasses, it's certainly not easy to apply eye makeup. I know some people have perfected reaching in and under their glasses, but that's not easy to do. But there are a couple of products that are made that can really make a difference. There are magnifying makeup eyeglasses. And what happens is those makeup glasses either hinge down so you can pull the glasses down on one eye and keep it up on the other eye, and then vice versa for applying makeup, or they have eyeglasses where there is one lens and it hinges back and forth horizontally between your eyes. So those can be really effective for many of us who wear glasses. Unfortunately, I can't use them because I'm farsighted in one eye and nearsighted in the other. So they don't work as effectively for me, but I think it's a great innovative tool. And now we're going to go ahead and talk about another tool, this one particularly for our faces, and that is a makeup sponge. This one, as you can see, is angled. It's made by Real Techniques, and I particularly like it because it enables you to reach into various areas of your face, under your eyes, around your mouth area and your nose, under your cheekbones, your chin, and it really works extremely well. And for those of you who aren't familiar with makeup sponges, what you want to do with them is get them very wet and then squeeze them out very carefully. And then what I like to do is actually get a paper towel and do one more squeeze. So the makeup sponge is really just a little bit damp. What you want to do is take your makeup sponge and press it into your skin, not use this kind of motion because that really shears your makeup out. And by pressing it in, you're really allowing the foundation or tinted moisturizer to meld beautifully into your skin. So it really looks seamless. And it's also wonderful to have that added moisture that you're adding to your face. And by the way, if I'm going to be out all day and then going to an evening event or activity, I will often take my makeup sponge with me, tuck it into a Ziploc plastic bag, and then when I get to the evening event, I'll take my makeup sponge out, dampen it, use a towel to dry it off completely, a paper towel, and then I will use it to freshen up my makeup. I'll simply pat it in, and oh, that feels so good, that additional moisture at the end of the day. So it's a wonderful way to freshen up your makeup look and give your skin some added moisture, which can really help how your makeup looks for the evening. Let's talk about one more tool that's great for the eyes. And again, if you saw my earlier videos, which are linked in the description box below, you'll recognize this particular tool. And this can be intimidating for a lot of us because for many of us, it's easy to catch our eyelid in this tool, but it's extremely important. It can make such a difference in curling our eyelashes so they look thicker and we look like we have more volume to our lashes. So the key is to go as close as possible to the bottom of the lashes without pinching, and then lift your arm so that you're curling those lashes even more. And then stair step up the lashes, hold for 5 seconds each time until you get to the very end of your lashes. That will make the most difference in curling. And it does make a difference to curl them that way. If you curl just once, sometimes you can get just one crimp in your lashes. This stair-step motion going up the lashes really effectively curls the whole eyelash. And by lifting, we're giving even more curl to that lash area. But the other thing I want to mention about this particular eyelash curler, which I think is really important to many of us over 50, is if you'll notice, there is rubber around the area where you hold the eyelash curler rather than just metal as many eyelash curlers have. This makes it far more comfortable to hold. And if that's important to you, it certainly is for me. It can make a world of difference on how easily you can use this eyelash curler. Some of you may recognize this particular tool. I've just started using it. It is a tool that helps us remove facial hair. It's called the Flawless System, and I love it for several reasons. First of all, let me take the top off and show you. When you turn this on, a light goes on, which helps. Also, as you can see, it's very compact and small, so it's great to take along on trips. It's easily packable, and also you can easily clean it. You take this little head off, and you can shake out any hair that has collected in there, and then you just simply put it back on. It just twists back on easily, and it really works amazingly. It's very gentle on the skin. You can use it every day. And the reason I've gone to it is, frankly, I've had some experiences where I've been looking in the rearview mirror of my car. And what usually happens to many of us when we look in the rearview mirror of our car, we see some things maybe sprouting out, hairs that we somehow missed. And having this with me enables me to do a quick zip over my face in that particular area. Also, to be quite honest with you, I've recently had to go onto a blood thinner. And up until now, I've been using a razor in the shower to get rid of this facial peach fuzz that often becomes more prominent as we get a little bit older, and to get rid of those interesting little hairs that seem to pop out around the chin area. But as you might imagine, it's a little worrisome to use a regular razor if you're using a blood thinner, because I certainly want to avoid any cuts or nicks. So I invested in this little guy. It wasn't all that expensive. There's a little battery that operates it. It is gentle, it's easy to use, and I absolutely love it. It has been a game changer for me. So I no longer have to worry about getting into that shower and possibly cutting myself, even though I was always as careful as I possibly could be not to do so. All right, the last thing I want to talk about, which will probably be surprising to you, has to do more with eyelashes. We talked about an eyelash curler earlier, but I know many of us have a lot of issues with our eyelashes. There are eyelash growth serums, which I'm sure some of you have used. And by the way, I would always recommend checking with your eye doctor before you use anything like that. For those of you who choose not to go that route, but do want to do something to help your eyelashes because they're possibly looking a little bit sparser than they used to look, false eyelashes can be a real game changer. Many of us may have tried false eyelashes or perhaps still use them. And for years, there were false eyelashes where you had to use adhesive to attach them. And there certainly are those false eyelashes still. But there's quite a learning curve involved in that. You have to get just the right amount of adhesive on it. You have to let those eyelashes dry after the adhesive has been applied, so they're just tacky. So you need to let them dry for a certain amount of time, and then you need to place them in very carefully and make sure they're adhering well to the eye. So it's a multi-step process. Several years ago, though, they came out with a new, really interesting product that I was really excited about it, magnetic eyelashes. And the first ones they came out with, and let me share what they look like. Now, these are half lashes, basically. But there's a top and a bottom lash, and they have little magnets all along each of those lashes for top and bottom for each eye. Sandwiching your eyelashes between the two magnetic lashes. It sounds like it would be fairly easy, but quite honestly, I really struggled with it to get them on so those little magnets adhere to each other and so they fit on your eyes, because you're dealing with two eyelashes at once in addition to your own eyelashes. It was not as easy as I hoped it would be. So I kind of gave up on them, to be honest. But more recently, they've come out with an intriguing new idea with magnetic lashes. And let me share with you what I'm talking about. These are two magnetic lashes, one for each eye, but what you see above them is magnetic eyeliner. So what you do is you take that magnetic eyeliner, you shake it really well, and then you apply the eyeliner as you would any liquid eyeliner all the way across the area right next to your lashes. You don't want to get it on your lashes, but just right above your lashes, and you want to do a semi-thick line. Then you let that eyeliner dry completely. You have to make sure it's absolutely dry. And by the way, if you have very hooded eyes, you may want to hold your eyelids like this so the eyelid doesn't come on top of that eyeliner. Once it is dry, what I recommend doing is shaking it one more time and then applying a tiny bit more just to the outer edge and the inner edge of your eyeliner, because those are the crucial areas where you want your eyelashes to adhere. So then you take those eyelashes, put them gently toward the eyeliner, and they will literally click into place with those magnets. I was frankly amazed at how well they worked. However, I must say it depends on the brand. There are some magnetic eyeliners I've heard about where you have to apply 3 to 5 coats to make sure those magnetic eyelashes adhere properly. And you have to wait for them to dry effectively between each coat. And that just takes way too much time, at least for me. So I have been pleasantly surprised by this particular brand of magnetic eyelashes and eyeliner. It's made by Kiss. They have a number of different thicknesses and varieties of the eyelashes. It really has worked amazingly well. So it's something to think about. So we've talked about 10 different beauty products, which I hope can be especially helpful for those of us who are 50 plus. And if you have found this video helpful, I hope you'll give it a thumbs up. And I would love to hear your comments in the comments section below. If you have any particular beauty tools that you particularly love, please let us know about them. We'd love to hear. And if you've used any of these tools that I've talked about today, let us know how they have worked for you as well. Thank you so much for watching. I so appreciate your taking the time to join me today. I wish you a very happy and healthy day and hope you have a fabulous rest of your day as well. Take care.